Hi, I'm Dave, and this is Crit Thinking. I just want to be critical for a moment about one thing. Atheists are oftentimes very vocal about the fact that it's absurd or foolish to believe in Jesus, God, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's interesting that they do that. And I think it's very interesting for one particular reason. The Bible actually gives a way to test or prove or proof certain things, whether Jesus is from God and even the existence of God and things like that. So before I get into what that test is, I just want to bring up an analogy. So a lot of atheists are scientific, or they like to claim that they are, and many atheists are scientists. So one thing that I just want to bring up is that if there were a test as a scientist to prove a theory or a hypothesis or something of that sort, you could say maybe quantum mechanics or anything really, any of the new things going on. And there's a test, a particular test that would allow you to prove it. And it's logical. It's known that this test is the best way, the only way perhaps. And so at the end of the day, the person doing the experimenting decides not to do that test. And so later on a person asks them, well, you didn't do the test. And they said, yeah, I just want to go I really just don't want to do it that way, or I don't want to do it. And you say, well, that's the best way of doing it. And they're like, well, that's all right. And then a couple days later, they're like, well, I think the hypothesis is wrong. And you ask again, well, did you test it? No, I just don't want to test it that way. So that's basically what I think goes on with a lot of atheists. There is a test. So what is that test? The test is simply this, that if you choose to do the will of God, you will know whether Jesus is from God or not. Also, it says, if you seek God with all your heart, you will find him. And furthermore, it says in the Bible, all this is, that if you earnestly seek God, he will richly reward you. So the concept behind it is that you're only going to know if God exists if you seek him with all your heart. You're only going to know if God exists if you lay down your will for his beforehand. So whatever truth you're going to find, you're already going to be obedient to that truth. The problem is that a lot of people don't want that. So I am very critical when an atheist is so certain, because if they haven't done this test and they're avoiding, but in a sense looking for an answer to a supernatural question with only natural input, when in reality they have a way of testing it. So if they don't take that test, if they don't do that test, an atheist really has no bearing. So I just think that we should be critical when atheists claim this type of stuff so certainly. On the flip side, next video is going to be some critical thoughts concerning some of the things that Christians assert so adamantly, and look forward to that. So just remember, don't quit thinking, start crit thinking.